Bumblebee brand smoke flavored Coho salmon. We'll see how this goes. Let me tell you a little backstory on Coho salmon. I'm from the Great Lakes. Not this week, I'm in Colorado, as you can tell by the mountain stream. Having a good time testing a few different canned fish. Coho salmon, they're like the smaller variety of salmon. I live in the Great Lakes, like I said. Back in the 1960s, there was not much to fish for because most of the fish got fished out, and the lake trout that are common or native to Michigan were really rare. And we also had these introduced to our invasive species. At first they were called shad fish. Then they introduced another type of fish called alowives to eat the shad. Because the shad kept dying in mass numbers, and they would wash up onto the shores of the beaches of Michigan, which are some of, if not the greatest freshwater beaches in the world, just saying. But the beaches would be covered with these dying, they're like monstrous minnows, but just scads and piles of them. Seagulls were abundant, of course. So they introduced salmon into the Great Lakes to eat all of those trash fish, like we would call them. They did a great job. Wiped them out totally. Just the back jumping ahead. Now, salmon are kind of dying off because they're not supporting them. Now the alowives are coming back. Anyways, back to the story. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources introduced salmon into the Great Lakes. One of the reasons was to eat those trash fish that kept washing up. Another reason was to create the sport fishery back again, which had died out. They started with Coho salmon. In the following year, and I may have this mixed up, but the general idea is the following year is they introduced king salmon. Those are the big, giant-sized ones. Coho are just kind of a plain silvery color. The flesh, if I recall, I haven't caught one in a long time, seems to be a light pink, maybe towards even a whitish. King salmon are probably the deeper, darker pink. But there's all kinds of salmon. And most of the salmon that you get in the store are either farm raised out in the ocean or they're wild caught in the Atlantic or the Pacific. Most of them, I believe, come from the Pacific Ocean up in Alaska. And up there, you'll have pink salmon, you'll have sockeye salmon, there's dog salmon, chum salmon, and then there's lots of other little lesser known varieties. I think it's the pink salmon or the sockeye salmon might be the best. I'm not sure on that. But when you buy canned salmon, there's a cheaper variety, and then there's a much more expensive variety. More expensive variety in the cans is not all that, it's not worth the extra expense. Anyhow, the Cohos, what this is, smoked flavored Coho salmon. This is not the typical one you find in the canned varieties. That's the first I've actually seen it. I found it at a Family Dollar store up here in Colorado. Pretty cheap. I think it was only we had $3 or $4 for this. Typically, salmon or trout is going to be $5 range for these little cans. Pretty expensive for the 3.75 ounces that you get. You work that out to be a bundle per pound. This, I am sure, is farm raised out in the ocean. So let's get down to the video here. Not that we aren't already on the video. You'll notice smoke flavored. That right away is a key that is not actually smoked meat. It's cooked meat with smoke flavoring. Probably like liquid smoke. It won't taste the same. I like a nice little package. Bumblebee brand is kind of the mid-range. It's not the top of the line, but it's not the cheap stuff either. Fillets and oil, so that means there's no skin, no scales, no bones. Just pure meat. 19 grams of protein, 150 calories per can. Of course, that means it's drained, not you eat the oil, that triples it probably. And it's 3.75 ounces. Now to the good stuff. Nutrition facts. 1 can drained, 80 grams. Amount per serving, 150 calories. Serving size is 1 can, excluding the metal outer part. Total fat, 9 grams, which is 12% of your daily. Saturated fat, 3.6 grams, which is 18% of your daily. Cholesterol, 40 grams. Sodium, 320 milligrams, which is 14%. That's a lot. But anytime you have smoked or any type of fish in a can, it's pretty much got a lot of salt in it because it decomposes quickly. You don't want to take a chance on that. Anything canned pretty much has salt for the same reason. And carbohydrates, 0, protein, 19 grams. Wow, that's 37% of your daily protein. All right, so 3 of these would way overcover what you need for, all right, whatever. Oh, there's vitamins and iron and potassium, calcium, all that kind of thing. So, some uses for smoked salmon. Perfect for salmon cakes, melts, spreads, scrambles, pastas. Try it on pizza, kind of like in place of anchovies. All right, keep that in mind. Product of Thailand. I didn't know salmon were a tropical fish. Thailand's like 80 and 90 degrees all the time, and the ocean's really warm. And you go to the ocean there, and you find all those really colorful ones like you get in your aquarium shop. All right, did not know they raised salmon in Thailand. Interesting. I learned something from my own video. Best if used by September 2027. So this has got a long shelf life left for it. Ingredients. Okay, medium red salmon. Well, what happened to the Coho? Or is it because there's a red label? Medium red salmon. Those are typically the good ones that you get on Alaska. All right, soybean oil, which is not the best choice. Water. Smoke flavor. Okay, cat's out of the bag now. As if we didn't know. Salt and color added. That's another thing you need to know. A lot of times you eat meat and it looks like a certain color, like hot dogs are red. If you don't put the red dye number 12 or whatever it is in there, you end up with brown hot dogs. Nobody wants brown hot dogs. You know why? Because they've grown up eating red hot dogs. You change the color to what it's naturally supposed to be, nobody wants it. So color is added. Contains salmon, soy, may contain bones. Okay. Let's see what's in the package. I kind of like it when they just slide out there. You don't have to work on it. Not that that makes a difference or anything else. This one is precisely engineered to have that compression fit. Well, let's set the box aside for a little bit. I'm seeing more and more of these bronze-colored tins. I think there's a psychological marketing scheme here. Because when you look at the silverish-colored aluminum tin, what do you think of? Maybe you're not thinking of this, but subliminally, it's a cheapness, aluminum. Aluminum is really a cheap metal. Throwaway. But this is a gold color. What do you think of when you see gold? Money, riches, value. I'm catching on. There's a trend here. Make people think there's a lot more value in this can than there really is. Although I think there is plenty of value, because these are all pretty much sustainable sources of food, and they're really good decent stuff for you to eat. Nothing special marked on the can. All right. We'll see how Mr. Bumblebee did on his sharpening of his machinery, because that's, from my background, I like to know that things are kept well maintained. So if this snaps open and peels open real nice, that means they've got a sharp machine that puts that little crease in there, you see? That little tiny hairline crack. That presses about 2/3 of the way through this metal, but not all the way. It's enough to weaken it and allow you to pull it off. So let's see if I can get sprayed from flying oil droplets. Ah, good. Something else I just realized. See all that ooze? I never get that back in Grand Haven, Michigan. But I've opened several of these cans in Colorado at about 10,000 feet elevation. All the pressure pushes that stuff out. Huh. Well, one nice thing of doing this in nature, I can just drain the can and nobody cares but the bears. All right, you can see a little bit of the remaining red dye in there. I'm making a mess of myself here. I don't have the usual precautions like the paper towel, the plastic bag. I don't need it. But I am going to smell like bear bait real soon. Man, that looks appetizing. Wherever I'm at, I'm still careful when I open these tops. Now that's some pretty choice meat right there. Smells like canned salmon. It don't smell like regular cooked salmon. This smells like canned salmon. There's a different smell. But look. Look at that, all the little V shapes of the mussels in there. That's picturesque. That's looking good. I won't be needing any substrate for this, I hope. If I do, then this is a failure, because you should be able to eat this straight out of the can. I can tell you it doesn't smell like smoked meat either. It tastes like canned salmon with an artificial flavor added. I don't taste any smoke. Not real smoke from the smoking process, nor do I taste liquid smoke. And I would have to say, the smell to me really is not pleasant. It's not unpleasant, but it's not something to be turn you right on to, hey, I want to dive in and eat this. Definitely tastes like canned fish. If you've ever had canned salmon in the regular papered cans, and I'll tell you about those someday. You always have the bones in there, all kinds of bones. It's skin and it's all wrapped around and squished into that can. You can't tell what's heads or tails or fins or scales. It's just a mishmash of that. There's a definite taste of canned salmon. This has that taste. But it's nicely packed in there, so aesthetically, it's more valuable. And I like the looks of the orange, fleshy color. But it certainly not impresses me as anything to do with smoked meat. Not dry, but not as moist as you get on regular canned salmon either. Not even in the same galaxy as true smoked salmon. I will say though, the more I eat it, the more it grows on me. Maybe it's an acquired taste and you gotta let your taste buds asphyxiate to it. By the way, when I come up with these words like asphyxiate, it doesn't match the real meaning. I pride myself on having a really good vocabulary, a really wide-ranging vocabulary, I should say. Not necessarily one that corresponds with Webster, but it's still a wide-ranging vocabulary. Well, I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to share this with one of my companions on the trip. I don't want to squander it all on my own. I think it's worth the money. And it's definitely worth a try and see if you like it. You might love this stuff. I'm going to say it's definitely okay. Definitely okay. Let me reorganize here. Bumblebee smoked flavored salmon. Let me try that again. Bumblebee smoked flavored Coho salmon, which is actually red salmon from Thailand. I think it's not bad. Definitely worth a try. Thanks for watching.